Hey, welcome to the Leading with Gratitude Live. I'm your host, Chester Elton, the apostle of appreciation, coming live and in color from the gratitude epicenter of the universe, Summit, New Jersey. You know, give us 30 minutes. We'll give you great information, inspiration, and your own personal roadmap to a life of gratitude at work and in your personal life, based on all our research from our latest book, Leading with Gratitude. Well, listen, you are in for such a treat today. I want you to meet Clinton Sparks. Let me tell you a little bit about him, and then we're going to bring him into the studio. But Clinton is remarkable. You know, he is an entrepreneur, an investor, executive, author, and marketing maven disguised as a Grammy-nominated multi-platinum DJ, producer, and songwriter, originally from Boston, coming to us live from California. Now, he's worked with some of the biggest recording artists ever, like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Rick Ross, P. Diddy, Pitbull, Ludacris, Big Sean, Akron, and 2 Chainz. He's into more stuff than you can imagine. He is got more energy than you can imagine. We're not going to talk about his 50 businesses that are all doing well. What we're going to talk about today is his book, How to Win Big in the Music Business. And while we could spend an entire day talking about the other stuff, today we want to talk about how this book can help you in the music business and help you in life. So with all that, Clinton, welcome to the show. We're delighted to have you here. Bring him in. There we go. There's the book. How to Succeed.
Thank you very much. Get familiar. Hey, if you are the apostle of appreciation, I like to call myself the defender of happy.
Okay, there you go. Defender of happy. Love it. Hey, listen, you're going to have a lot of questions for Clinton. Put them in the chat box. Tell us where you're from, and it'll be great fun all day. So,
and by the way, all the Boston questions get answered first.
Yeah, Celtics game 7. You got a big one coming up. Hey, so tell me about the book. You know, we chatted about it a little bit. Why did you write the book, and why now?
Why I wrote the book is because I was constantly throughout my career seeing people being misled, misguided, and misinformed. And if there was one thing besides it being a shady business and a lot of scam artists, the one thing I noticed a lot was the lack of information, was the lack of like leadership and mentorship, and information, education on how to move in the music business in a way that's effective, that's going to help you scale, well, build a business and then scale that business. I've seen from athletes to, rich people to, guys in the street, just so much money at the wrong things when I was coming up. And I'd sit there and be like, oh my God, if they would just not do this, it would work. So it was a culmination of knowing that it's necessary, that there's a dire need for somebody at my caliber and level of success and experience to be able to guide and lead those that are trying to win big in the music business, and also an honest person who's going to teach you too. So that's another thing. There are some people out there that know some things, but here's the difference between me and them, and this is just factual. I step out of myself. I don't look at myself as me. So when I'm talking about me, I can be very unbiased. So there's not many people that have done as much as I've done and has succeeded in as much as I've done. Now, you could look in the back, look at say someone like DJ Khaled, right? much more popular than me, right? Much more successful than me at the thing that he's successful at. But he doesn't know the 10 other things that people that are hired to do those jobs know. This for me and say a him, who I love, Cal, is a friend of mine, but is that if you have questions about, I know everything. So whether you're president of a label, all the way down to a publisher, to a manager, to an artist, to a producer, to a DJ, you know, whatever it is, I've succeeded at it. So that's why I wanted to put this book together that could show this generation, give them a modern day guide on how to navigate themselves to winning big in the music business, whether you want to be a DJ, producer, singer, rapper, A&R, executive, manager, choreographer, videographer, engineer, whatever it is. There's a lot of things to be in the music business. And this is the book, the quintessential book that'll teach you not only the practical things you need to know, but the psychology of how to win big in the music business. Because I'll tell you, one of the things I talk about in the book too is like, you could be the most talented person in the world, but if you don't know all the other things that I teach you, the formula, the proven formula I teach you in this book, like talent's almost second. You know what I mean? Like talent's almost not as important as knowing how to communicate, how to network, how to pivot. You know, there's just a lot of things that this book will teach you. Look how thin it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, you said for this generation, and I love the fact that everybody's ADD, right? So your book is an easy read. It's a quick read. Now, it's not just a book. So talk about the other stuff you're doing with the videos and the courses and so on.
Right. So the book also has an accompanying course with over 65 videos. And I have the best in class from each module teaching you. So say you want to learn how to record better, mix and master your music. I have 5-time Grammy winning Fabian. We do a whole module together to walk you through that. And by the way, when these videos, the book and the course itself, not to make people sound like they're not smart, but I simplified it as much as you can with no inside baseball talk. You know, it's very like as if you were a 12-year-old kid that it knew nothing. And you needed to understand from the minute you decided I want to do this to how do I get to the top. And I walk you through that way. And I'm very mindful of what you probably don't understand. And that's why I really simplify it a lot. But in the course, like whether you want to be, you know, like an engineer or a video director, I sit with, you know, Director X, who just directed, you know, Drake and DJ Khaled's new video with Justin Bieber. We talk about, you know, the right way to be a video director, how to work with talent, how to break through being a video director, how to get work. If you want to understand how to own your own masters or build your own label, I sit with, you know, multi-platinum artist Yo Gotti, who owns his own record label CMG. Or, you know, you want to understand how to create effective video content and monetize on YouTube and collaborate. I sit with FaZe Rug, who has over 16 million subscribers on YouTube. So, you know, I sit with the best of the best. So anything that you want to learn in the music business, it's in this course and it's in this book. And the reason I made this book so easy to read and so short is because I understand my avatar. And I understand the avatar is someone that just wants, how do I get rich? How do I get famous? How do I go viral? How do I get a record deal? Right? That's all anybody wants to know. But I teach them that, but I also teach them all of the things, almost like you're giving medicine to a baby. I put the medicine in the food, right? So it's like I'm teaching you the practicalities of how to do those things, but also teach you how to do them effectively and have an impact. So I'm really excited about the book. I mean, I launched the book about 5 weeks ago, only on my Instagram. So just to the people that you know, obviously follow me and are familiar with me, and I did reorder. We sold out.
And that's great.
There were 3,000 books I did for the first run, and like they're gone. So we launched the book, the course, and the products. The products that I also have that I offer. By the way, it's winbiginmusic.com, winbiginmusic.com, or you can go to the link in my Instagram, @ClintonSparks. But the products that I have available to you as well, which you can get them individually, or when you get the course, the products come with the course. And to be honest, the products are worth it itself. So the course, you're going to get over 65 videos, and then you get all these products. You get the book. It's everything you need to know. And by the way, the good thing about this is that, in those that don't know, the DIY and independent artist industry is going to reach $2 billion by the end of next year. And I talked to you about publishing. I talked to you about royalties. We talk about, you know, distribution, like everything you need to know, because it's really complex if you don't understand it. And to be honest, you could ask 5 different people questions, you're going to get 5 different answers. But not here. You're going to get the answers and the proven formula that the biggest artists in the world that continue to win use the formula that I'm going to teach you. But I'm not going to just give you the formula. I'm going to teach you the effective way to utilize that formula.
Clinton, what I love what you're doing is you're elevating the whole music industry. I mean, every movie you ever see about a great artist, they were taken advantage of. They didn't realize what they were getting. They lost, the rights to their music. They were paid pennies on the dollar. And I love that, you're saying, look, this is how you do it. This is how the good guys do it. This is how you can succeed and not be taken advantage of. Right. Now, because do you know artists that, because they didn't know what they were doing, didn't get their props, is that what kind of inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, it still happens to the biggest artists in the world today. This isn't just for newbies that don't know anything. There are artists that have platinum records on Billboard that don't even know the information I talk about in this book. So, another thing I talk about is bulletproof business. A lot of people don't understand, the steps to make sure you don't have any problems later on. I'll give you a quick example. Say you're an artist and you're working with a producer. You guys are both unknown. You find this guy online. You pay him for his beat, $100, $30, whatever he charges, or free, right? Yeah. And you don't understand how to handle that business to properly, one, release it, to properly own it, to properly make sure you get your royalties and your shares and your publishing. So a lot of people just do it on the, oh, he's cool, he gave me the beat, and then I just put it out on Spotify, and I think I'm good. You just lost so much money just by doing it that way, or throwing it on SoundCloud. Now let's hypothetically say that producer ends up making a record, for a major artist next year. Now all of a sudden he's a hot producer, and you didn't put your record out yet with him. But now you're thinking, oh man, he's a poppin' producer. I want to put this record out and say produced by him because it's going to uplift my brand. Well, now you have to get him to sign off on it. And now he's a cracking producer that's now either going to charge you or tell you he doesn't want you putting that record out now. And if you handle it from the beginning, you would never have that problem. There's nothing he can do to stop you from putting that record out if you just handle the proper business at the beginning. And in the course, I give you the products that literally walk you through how to make sure that you handle the business. I mean, there's major artists from Drake to DJ Snake that literally don't handle their business from the beginning in the studio, that a record gets held up and then never gets released because they can't agree on publishing. I mean, it happens every day, Chester. Like major artists and major labels can't agree because they didn't handle it at the beginning when they should have, when the artists or managers or A&R should have done it. And then what ends up happening 6 months later when you want to release the record, it's not on the right schedule with that artist. That artist got even bigger. That artist doesn't like another record you put out, so doesn't want you to put it out now. There's a million reasons why you can now have a headache and or legal problems if you don't handle your business from the beginning. But don't worry, because the book and my book literally walk me through it all. And again, like, I know that I'm a good salesman, but I'm not trying to sell you. I'm trying to teach, educate, and empower. And that's why I spent all this time doing this. And that's why the book is free, by the way. You can get it right now for free. I'm giving you 20 years of game in this book. And like, I've had celebrities call me that read this book. Rob Dyrdek, for instance, from Ridiculousness, host of MTV Ridiculousness. He called me and was talking for 20 minutes about how I'm an idiot for just calling this How to Win Big in the Music Business. He's like, this is a book on how to win big at life. Why did you just call it the music business? And the reason I did that was twofold. One, because of the reason I just said, I wanted to help, the millions and millions of people that are misguided and misinformed. And there's so much wrong information on the internet. So many scam artists trying to just take money from you to help you get fake streams, fake likes, fake plays. Like that stuff doesn't help you. Like it's whack. Don't do that, right? So that was one reason to help those. But also because I've been so successful in music and sold over 75 million records, found and discovered and broke some of the biggest artists to date. And I've done so much that, everybody knows me from being successful in music, sorry, that it was like, I can't just all of a sudden come out with a book about how to win big at life. People are going to be like, who's teaching me that? The DJ?
Right.
But if I come out with something that that I'm successful at, and in that, I'm also teaching you how to be a better business person, a better brand, how to scale your business, a better communicator, I'm teaching all of that while I'm teaching you how to win, because all of that stuff is not only necessary to win in the music business, it's necessary to win in a business if you're an entrepreneur. It's necessary to win and even in your personal relationships. You know what I mean? Like, you got to understand how to communicate. You got to understand how to pivot. You got to understand give and take. You got to understand emotions, and you got to have, emotional intelligence yourself. You know what I mean? So it's really difficult to succeed at anything without having the principles and values that I teach in this book.
Yeah, and I love that. There are life lessons there. We've got a great question from Manish. He says, do you think networking helps? Well, I'm willing to guess that your book talks a lot about surround yourself with the right people, right?
Yeah, I mean, networking is imperative. If you want to excel, look, your net worth is as good as your network, right? That's what people say. If you want to build your net worth, you got to build your network. And in order to succeed and have connections and get favors, or be able to get, a media look, or to get somebody to put you in right placement, or to get a collaboration, or to find someone that can book you for shows, or all those things, that's all part of building a network. And there's no easier time to build a network than now. You can literally build a network from your bedroom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when I was coming up, I literally had to travel to New York. I had to travel to LA. I had to travel to Miami. I had to go to events and conferences, and I had to go to offices, and I had to convince people that I was worthy enough for them to take a meeting with me. Like nowadays, I mean, that's still super powerful, and you still should do the personal touch to meeting, because there's nothing greater than meeting somebody and really connecting and talking and showing them what you're all about. People can see when you're passionate. People can see that you're real, right? But now, if you're somebody, I think that person was from like Bangladesh or something. I didn't see it. It looked like it was. But like now you got the internet. So now you have to really learn, and I teach this, how to have a great elevator pitch. And what that is, for people that don't know, is a concise, 3 or 4 sentences that really interest people and compel them enough to want to hear more, or to raise their eyebrow, like, oh, this person sounds interesting. You know what I mean? So, and that, again, it works in business, it works as an entrepreneur, it works in life, but even in the music business. So you got to come up with what sets you apart from somebody else, why somebody should care about you, what you need from them, and what you can provide to them. So that's really what your quick elevator pitch when you're networking to people. I get people that hit me on DM every single day, dozens of people, like, they'll just literally send me a link and be like, yo, I'd appreciate your feedback. I mean, I would love to listen to the whole world and give feedback, but
sure.
Be realistic. And that's another thing, be real. Like, realize who you're talking to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would never reach out to Jay-Z and say, yo, can you come to my show?
Right.
Like, it just, you got to make sense of how you're dealing and talking and, communicating to somebody and approaching somebody. When you say something that's so ridiculous or not effective or not compelling, you've lost your chance at getting that person's, interest at you.
I love this question too, because you talk about life, experience, and this is also a roadmap for a good life. I love this question. What are some of your favorite tips and tricks for effective communication? Man, you just said make sure you know your audience.
Right.
That's a great tip. What have you found that really helps in communication?
Be personable, be friendly, be polite, be respectful. And when I say that, even be respectful of somebody's time. Like, I have a line in my book that says, don't get mad if people don't listen when you talk. Instead, learn to talk when people are listening. Right? So it's really understanding the right time. I mean, think about it. We were all kids that realized the right time to ask our parents for something, right? Oh, now's not a good time, they're mad. Oh, now's not a good time because she's in the middle of working and yelling at somebody, so I'm going to wait to ask. It's the same thing in real life. If you see someone's busy, you see they got a lot of stress, and the way to find that out too is to inquire about their life. Hey, how you doing? Right? And people will tell you, right? So especially in person. So like, hey, are you happy? How you feeling? What are you excited about right now? What are you working on? Take interest in them, because that gives you ammo to know how to approach. And by the way, sometimes that moment might not be the time to strike, because they may tell you something that you're like, oh man, this isn't a good time, but I really only came here to try to get something from them. Sometimes you have to just put that on pause, even if you think this is my only shot. And if it is your only shot, then you have to be really calculated on how you're going to talk to them about something you need, knowing they just told you something that's pissing them off right now.
Right.
So I could do a whole course on just the art of communicating effectively. But the short answer, which is already kind of long, is to just, care about who you're talking to, ask about them first. One of the things that I've always done is how I've continued to succeed is anytime I need something from somebody, I figure out a way that they can win equally or more than I am from the favor that I'm asking of them.
Yeah, I love that. Make it a win-win. Manish asked that question. How do you ask a favor of your network? Is there a timeline? Is there a certain amount of time that needs to go by that you've built up some trust before you start asking for favors? Or, do you just go for it?
Well, it depends. It depends who you are, who that person is, what the favor is, what industry you're in. But I'll give you an example. Like yesterday, I met a guy from BMI, which is a pro company in music, which, by the way, if you don't even know what a pro is, ASCAP or BMI or any of that, teach you all that in the book and the course as well. It's how you make your money. And a lot of people don't even sign up for that. So you just throw money out the door. Even when you're getting streams, if you don't have a pro, you're just losing so much money because they go and collect money for you all over the world. You don't know all the territories all over the world that's playing your music, that's collecting money. And if you don't collect it, it just sits there and inevitably it just goes away. So that was one side tip. But no, there really isn't a time. It's really just a feeling. It's knowing the right time. And by knowing the right time is practicing some of the things that I had just explained on doing. Because yesterday when I talked to this guy from BMI, I never met him before. I got on a Zoom with him and I just said, my first question was like, hey, what are you working on? What are you excited about? He explained it to me and then I could see what really fired him up. So then I'm like, oh, that's dope that you're working on this because I know this guy that's doing that too. Oh, I know him. Oh, yeah, da-da-da. And then all of a sudden it's relatability, it's connecting, and now you just put their guard down because you guys know some similar people, you have some similar interests. So then I was like, hey, man, what do you think about this, right? And he goes, I love that, and I'm a big advocate of educating people here at BMI. Ding, 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 ding. He said the word I needed. I'm big at educating. Great, I have a course. Would you be interested in doing a module to help educate people? He goes, I would love that. So see, by talking, I found out things about him of interest that in this case coincidentally worked in my favor. But other times, if I get a conversation, I find out things of interest, I might know somebody that can help them accomplish something they're trying to accomplish. So I can make that connection and then say, by the way, now that we got that out of the way with, I'm trying to do this. Do you think you could help me? I just connected him with somebody. Of course he's going to help me.
Yeah, yeah. My dad used to say some of the best advice he ever gave me. He says, you know what? There's no substitute for enthusiasm. Now, I think you're the epitome of that advice. I mean, who's more enthusiastic? I mean, it really is important when you've got that moment with those people that you want to engage with, that you bring energy, right?
Right. Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, people can see your passion. People can see enthusiasm. I mean, if I come in and I'm excited about something like, this is why it's awesome. This is why you should do it. Here's some examples. Here's some facts. By the way, be mindful. I'm talking about hype. Be mindful that there's substance and facts and maybe even metrics and data behind your hype. Because anybody can sell hype, right?
Right.
If you can match hype and excitement and enthusiasm with facts and real substance, you're a killer, right? So like one of the things I also talk about, and I also say this, I think I say it in my book, if you feel accomplished and triumphant, you feel like you won because you were able to convince somebody to do something or pay for something or invest in something that wasn't super beneficial for them, but really just served your need of being able to make that sale, you're not a great salesperson, you're a con man. So you need to understand, like, again, going back to understanding the person you're talking to, is what you're selling actually something that they need, actually something to benefit them? And the same thing applies in relationships. Think about when you're going to date somebody, right? Most people say, oh my God, I like her because she's got a sense of humor, she's pretty, she's smart, she's got a good job. They think about all the assets they have that make them happy, that work for them. Nobody ever sits there and says, am I great for them?
Right. What do I bring to the relationship? Right.
Like, do I enrich their life? Do I fill voids that they're looking for? No one ever does that. So it's the same thing in business. Think about what they need instead of just what you need. And ultimately, like you said, a win-win, man, that person's going to answer the phone for you every time you call. And that's what I've done most of my career, by the way. I do things with no objectives and no agendas, just for the good of culture or to help people. I've paid it forward a zillion times that like I can call anybody and they answer my phone because there's never no strings attached. I'll get Rick Ross a check, or I'll go help Ludacris lift up his company, or, you know, I'll help this band get a show, or I'll get this person, I'll connect them with, you know, a head writer at a blog. And I'm not like, oh, make sure you do this for me now. I just do it because I can. You know what I mean?
I think that right there is such a great life lesson. You do the right thing for the right reasons with no expectation of return, and you will always get a return. You know, that generosity always comes back, doesn't it?
Right, 100-fold, because there's nothing better than word of mouth. And my reputation is so stellar because I've never done bad business. I've never done a bad deal. I'll literally lose money before I let my reputation get dented. So like if somebody was ever like, well, that's not fair, I'm like, oh, you know what? You can have it. You know what I mean? Like, guess what? Them running around saying, Clinton's the man, dude. He's such a great business guy. Da, da, da. Like, I know it wasn't great business for me to let him keep all the money. But I also know that him running around telling everybody how great I am is going to give me that money 10 times more because I just let that money slide.
So I got a couple of things for you. I knew our time was going to blow by. We got 5 minutes to go, so I want to get some things in here. First, you got to tell me about the forward of the book was written by a shark. You know, yeah. Talk about that for a second.
Damon John from Shark Tank, he wrote the forward to my book, and he said it himself. It's on my Instagram. He goes, I wrote the forward because I believe in Clinton. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. I've watched him grow. I've watched him help tremendous people build their businesses, and I wouldn't put my name on anything unless I believed in it. So that's a really big cosign. And I couldn't even believe the forward. When he sent it to me, it's like what you would want your dad to think about you. Dan, can you be my dad? So yeah, I was really excited to get that from him. And also I have the audio book, and he actually did his whole forward. So he reads his forward, and I read the whole book. You know, a lot of people, they have other people read their book for them.
Sure.
I think it's really effective because I like talking to people like they're my friend. And like some people feel it's a little too abrasive, but like look at me as like your big brother or your coach, like trying to hype, like you can do it, bro. Like you stop doing that shit and you got to do this stuff. And that's how I talk in life. So everyone's like, you got to read the book yourself, man, because you reading it is going to inspire so many more people.
Well, and I love everybody needs a cheerleader, right? We're a big fan of that. I love this question here. How do you collaborate given remote workplaces? You know, you can't travel, or you're not supposed to, at least. Have you found some ideas there to really engage people in video conferencing or remote?
Well, thanks for the question, Big Dave. Well, for instance, tomorrow I have a noon studio session on Zoom. So I'll be on with 2 other musicians, and we'll be making music together. So, you know, Zoom has become, you know, if you invested in Zoom, you know, months back,
you made out pretty well. Yeah.
You know, so Zoom is the best way to collaborate with people right now. I don't even know if there's a better way other than being together in person than Zoom. I mean, it's fantastic. You know, musicians, if you're talking music wise, musicians have been sharing files, you know, forever. Like I'll work on my part, send it to you, you work on your part. Now we can actually collaborate from scratch via Zoom. But yeah, there's multiple ways of collaborating, and Zoom has been the best way for me and everybody else I know.
Excellent. Well, you know, we always come back to gratitude. You know, it's all about leading with gratitude. I love how great your grateful nature and just giving of yourself and your talent. So we always love to ask them, our guests. So what are you grateful for today?
Oh man, I'm for the same thing every day, man. And when I say this isn't just because the show I'm on. It's why I have #DefendHappy, because I'm grateful for there's not a day I don't wake up. I don't look out my window. I don't look around my house and I think about, holy shit, this is mine.
Yeah.
You know, because like I look at my children, I look at my wife, and like even this morning I watched my wife like with my baby on the bed, and I was like, man. And the reason I'm so grateful is because I came from nothing. And I was like homeless at one point. We were broke. You know, I mentioned to you before, I was sexually abused for many years. My dad was an alcoholic and left us. So, you know, I never really I hate talking about these things because everybody has their own trauma. So I hate saying it like woe is me, because it's not woe is me. And I don't hold on to it. In fact, I used all of that to empower me to be grateful and work hard to be better than what was handed to me. So I look at where I came from, and I never forget that. To this day, the thing that keeps me so enthusiastic is I still feel like I'm just a loser from Boston trying to get people familiar with me. And I'll never let go of that. and I feel like it can all go away tomorrow. So that's what I'm grateful for. My gratitude is for the ability to be able to work hard and the ability to know the greatness that I have around me because I work so hard. And I'm grateful for the fact that I'm going to know that I will never let go of who I am and ever forget of who I was. And I'll always be grateful for the ability and the people that take calls or want to have me on their show like you that help me help other people.
Awesome. Well, I'm the Apostle of Appreciation. You are the Defender of Happy. That is your new title, Clinton. His book is amazing. How to Succeed. No, wait a minute. How to Win Big in the Music Business. There we go. You know, it's free. You got to go to his website, clintonsparks.com. It's got videos. It's got training. There's nobody more enthusiastic on the planet than the Defender of Happy.
Get familiar. Get familiar.
There you go. Hey, listen, it's a delight to have you on the show. We've got Leading with Gratitude every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I hope you'll join us again next week. Clint, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate just your enthusiasm. You know, it's infectious. And the fact that the trials that you went through didn't define you, that you have been successful and you give back. So from me to you, great gratitude. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, everybody. Hey, Dave, you can follow me on LinkedIn. And guys, at Clinton Sparks on all socials, at Clinton Sparks, Instagram. And don't forget, my book is free right now. Actually, it's free for a limited time. In 2 weeks, you'll have to pay for it. So if I would go to winbiginmusic.com and get this book now. Thanks, Chester.
You got it. Thank you, Clinton. Well, listen, that's been Leading with Gratitude Live today. You know, we always say, give us 30 minutes. We'll give you great information, great inspiration, and a roadmap to a life of gratitude at work and in your personal life. Follow us on LinkedIn. We've got a wonderful monthly newsletter called The Gratitude Journal. I'm really grateful for our time together. You know, I think through all of this, if we become more grateful, more kind, more patient, and more forgiving, we're just going to have better lives at work, certainly. More than that, at home with the people that we love. Well, that's our show. We're sticking to it. Tune in next Thursday at 1 o'clock for another amazing guest. Take care, everybody.